Tens of thousands of our brave men and women in uniform are in danger of being forced out of the service and robbed of their educational benefits because they refuse to take the COVID vaccine. One congressman, Chris Smith of New Jersey, offered an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act that would have protected those benefits earned by service members who were forced out of the service for rejecting the vaccine. But the Democratic-run House Rules Committee refused to even allow the amendment to go to the floor for a vote. With more on this, let's bring in the man who introduced that amendment, Congressman Chris Smith. Congressman, always good to see you. Just give us a lay of the land. How will this play out for these folks?
Well, it's awful. I've met with a half a dozen service members who were thrown out of the military. One had been in for 19 years. His GI Bill, which is the education college benefit, it's transferable, was being used by his kids. And he's being told you can't use it anymore because you get a general discharge, not an honorable discharge, if you are thrown out because of not getting COVID-19 vaccination. It's outrageous. There are now about 60,000 National Guard and Reserve units at risk of losing. More than 6,000 have already lost out in terms of being thrown out. And, you know, the GI Bill is one of those great benefits that Congress in its wisdom, and I actually wrote one of them and increased it, the Montgomery GI Bill, back when I was chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee. It is a tremendous benefit for the sacrifice that our men and women endure in the military. And it's gone because you won't get a shot. I think it's harsh and it's cruel. And sadly, the Democratic majority wouldn't even let me offer the amendment because I went to the Rules Committee and testified on the floor of the House, and I do think it would have passed. I'm going to keep trying.
So in this case, I just want to be clear. So just so everyone understands, if you serve in the military after 9/11, you can now pass on those benefits to a spouse or a kid. This service member was going to pass it on, or is in the process of passing it on to the kid. They were in school, and they're pulling the benefits back. Is that correct?
It's a transferable benefit, and he and so many others are being told, that's it, time's up, you don't get the GI benefit of college education.
So you're punishing the kid.
You're punishing the kids. That's why I think it's cruel. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So let me ask you this, Congressman, because the House Rules Committee is not allowing your amendment to go to the floor for a full vote, why the pushback?
They didn't give a reason. They seldom do. They just didn't make it in order as they use the parlance. I have a bill pending that would do two things. One, it would reinstate all of those who have been thrown out if they'd like to come back in. That's not going to pass, I don't think, in this Congress. But the second part, raising from general discharge to honorable, I think it's a no-brainer and ought to be done immediately. Hopefully the Senate will do a similar bill, maybe, or amendment that'll get passed over there, and we can agree to it over on the House side. But it's punitive. And I have found in talking to several of these people who have been harmed that the chain of command is so aggressive in saying, you take that shot. You know, they're using peer pressure in every other ways, and then ultimately they throw them out unceremoniously. It's not the way you treat your men and women in uniform. And we're seeing recruitment is falling off the cliff. Well, when you treat your own people who are sacrificing that way, that's what happens. And also, Sean, the idea of being general discharge goes onto your resume as opposed to honorable. Try explaining that when you're going for another job somewhere. Not only did you lose your GI Bill, but now you're being, marked as somebody who did not get the honorable discharge from the military.
So here's the thing. Lyndsay asked you about the Rules Committee. Okay, so they don't. You're a Republican. They're a Democrat. They don't want your amendment. Okay. When you go to them on an individual basis, or have you gone to them on an individual basis and say, okay, I get it. You guys are for mandates and all this stuff. But what about the kid? Will you at least help out these children keep their benefits, or will you help them, get the honorable discharge on a one-on-one basis? For all these people who talk about education and helping children, at least behind closed doors, did they say, Congressman Smith, okay, I get it. I get it. We can't maybe do it in the Rules Committee, but I'm with you on the effort?
I've got no such feedback so far. I'm sure there are some who feel in their heart of hearts this is an injustice to our men and women in uniform who are then thrown out summarily. But when I testified, it opens up a debate. Nobody defended the idea that they would ultimately vote it down and not allow. The Republicans were in favor of it. I talked to the ranking member; he was all in favor of it, but not unfortunately the Democrats. So it's just they don't want to cross swords, I guess, with the commander in chief, Biden, which I think if he's doing wrong, stand up to him. And this is wrong. This is so wrong on so many levels. I can't even begin. 19 years in the military, all that sacrifice, all that away from home because he's in a flight crew, only to be told, sorry, GI benefit not for you and not for your children. And one of the greatest benefits we do provide as a country, and it's gone for everybody being thrown out. I met with one Marine who wanted to use the GI Bill. He was thrown out. He's a younger guy, and he says this is so wrong on so many levels. And he's the one who told me how I met with him in my office for about 2.5 hours. He and a friend who was also thrown out. How the chain of command was so they pressured them so much. Everybody conform. Everybody conform. And and the man, the 19-year service member, he already had COVID, so he's got antibodies. None of that gets into the mix, and they have this false hope that you might get a religious exemption. So I really tracked that down, talked to the people who adjudicate it. It's another joke. Almost nobody gets it.
Congressman, thank you for everything you're doing. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having it on, and we're not going to quit. We're going to reinstate these people. Good. At least give them the opportunity and get them their honorable discharge.
Appreciate it. Lyndsay, it's about the benefits and as he said, that discharge that hurts your future employment. It's one thing to throw them out; it's enough to hurt them going forward. Yeah,
it's terrible to be on your resume, and also a lot of these people, as he mentioned, trying not to get COVID because of religious exemptions, and that is not being acknowledged. It's sad to see. And he said 60,000 potentially.
All right, coming up, Don Lemon is not happy.